I decided to make today's video on the Elder Blood. So after finishing my Wild Hunt video, I talked about the Elder Blood very briefly, with Ciri and how the Elder Blood's used. But I thought I'd actually do a proper video on the origins of the Elder Blood and why it's so significant. Also, characters in the games that have been affected by the Elder Blood and how sort of continuity makes sense in the games with it. And you'll get what I mean later on. So, at a very basic level, the Elder Blood is a genetic program initiated by elven mages known as sages. The purpose of the Elder Blood was to create an extraordinarily gifted child whose power would actually exceed their own, because elven sages were, well, at least in the past, the strongest magic users, but with the coming of humans, elven magics kind of faded a little bit. So according to the prophecy of the elven diviner Ithleen, the children of the Elder Blood will one day save the elves from annihilation. However, the last carrier of Einhen Ishir, Lara Doren, Shiadhal, bonded with a human instead of an elf, thus shattering all plans regarding her offspring. So what that means is basically Lara Doren was a carrier of the Elder Blood and she was an elf. She had sex with a human instead of an elf, and that sort of gave the Elder Blood to the humans, which is why, as we know, Ciri is a human. She does have elven ancestors, but she herself is a human, and so are all the other children of the Elder Blood. So according to some, the Elder Blood is actually just a powerful curse passed from generation to generation. We know it's meant to be a gift, but it's because it says that whoever the blood flows in carries death and destruction with them, and will sow hatred and disdain in the hearts of men. So because of the fact that the blood was contaminated, Ithleen also made the other prophecy that the children of the Elder Blood would either stop the white frost or cause the world's destruction. So the Elder Blood is not easy to control. Elven sages can't do it, and they are the best sort of magic users in the Witcher universe, but the people who have this gift aren't able to control it that well at all. As we saw with Ciri, there can be these sudden outbursts of just utter power which can be incredibly dangerous for everyone involved, and Avalak had to calm her. So we saw that when Vesemir died in the Battle of Kaer Morhen, and she kind of just goes crazy, and that is very dangerous. She could have torn apart Kaer Morhen with that. So the Elder Blood was actually so special and obviously important that a lot of mages and sorceresses and sorcerers wanted to harness the power to further their own knowledge and powers. However, their plans were, well, they didn't go through because the Elder Blood line broke off when the Princess Cirilla disappeared. So, I wanted to talk about Lara Doren. So, a lot of you will probably know her just from mention. She was I suppose you could say she was the original child of the Elder Blood. She's Oberon's daughter, or Auberon, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. And she, well, who was the Elven King and died, you know that story from my last video. But Lara Doren is a child of the Elder Blood. So, after Cregnan died, Lara gave birth to their daughter, but she herself died, therefore orphaning the child. Kero, the current Queen of Redania at the time, adopted the half-elf girl and named her Rhiannon. This was her first child and what sort of carried on her lineage as the Elder Blood, but also gave the gift to humans. So how Lara Doren actually died was she died on a hill after frost came. She protected her baby with her own body, but that hill became known as Dol Blathanna, which is where the land where Lara breathed her last. And if you see the dialogue between Geralt and Yevon in The Witcher 1, he explains it in much more detail. So one character I want to talk about who has the Elder Blood is Alvin. And if you've played The Witcher 1, you'll know that Alvin was I suppose you could say a side character who Geralt meets when he first leaves Kaer Morhen. He seems to possess some sort of Elder Blood, which is quite interesting because if you look at the family tree of the Elder Blood, he isn't mentioned anywhere, and there's no sort of sign that he's a descendant. It's sort of commonly believed that this was sort of a blunder by CD Projekt Red, and they didn't know whether or not to put Ciri in with their first Witcher game, and they just kind of made Alvin as a sort of callback to the Elder Blood, and they didn't really know what they were doing. They think it was just, it's sort of commonly believed that it's inexperience on their part. But if you try and sort of rationalize it all, you can assume that he could have possibly been an illegitimate child of the Elder Blood. Very possible. Generally, it's only girls that get the power of the Elder Blood, but let's just say it was a freak occurrence of, the lineage. So, Alvin uses his power and it's commonly believed that he went back in time after an encounter with Thuruviel to other elves, and he became Jacquins to Aldersberg, which you might know as the leader of the Order of the Flaming Rose. There's a lot of evidence for this. You find a letter written to Geralt in a bookshop in The Witcher 3 that's signed A, but it's clearly about Jacquin de Aldersberg's sort of rise. Jacquin de Aldersberg also carries something Geralt gave him. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure he'll tell me in the comments. But yeah, so that's just the way that the Elder Blood is used. So actually, that's a perfect segue. What actually is the Elder Blood? How is it used? And, well, what is it? So the Elder Blood basically allows the user to, in a way, control space and time. The time one is a bit iffy. It's very hard to control. But imagine that you could go back in time and forwards in time. I mean, you get what I mean, but it's not commonly used in that way. The main thing it's used for is traveling between worlds, which, as you see with Ciri, she does a lot and talks about a lot. It's also able to teleport, I suppose, large distances in worlds. But it does create its own sort of unique magical signature, which is why Eridan and the Wild Hunt are able to follow it. And it's more powerful than any sort of form of world transportation. You see Geralt have some low-level world transportation with Avalak. You see the Wild Hunt use it, but with the Elder Blood you could teleport, you know, like armies of people at a time, if it was harnessed properly. So there's an entire story about Folka and Rhiannon, which is a little bit confusing. I'm trying to work it out for myself, but it is believed that Fiona was actually the daughter of Folka and not Rhiannon. It's sort of not known which... If she was the daughter of Rhiannon or Folka, so it's not known if the Elder Blood came from her or her. We can assume it was Rhiannon because she's the daughter of Lara Doren, but it's very confusing because the timeline, the entire birth of this girl is not really known, and it's a bit confusing. If you want to understand what I mean more, I have a family tree up on screen, and it's quite confusing. You'll get what I mean. So I've got this family tree off the Witcher Wikipedia, and every name that's kind of greyed out is who had the Elder Blood. So Alvin isn't on there, and that's because it's a bit difficult to determine where he's from, I imagine. But as you can see, Ciri's at the very bottom. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say on the Elder Blood. It's a bit of a difficult subject because so little is known about how it's used. It's clearly a very important factor in The Witcher, and I could go into that in another video, but I feel like if you watch all my other videos, it sort of comes in all the time because it's such a relevant factor of the Witcher story. But yeah, anyway, be sure to like for more videos like this and subscribe if you're new. It's always cool to see new people joining, and I'll see you all later. Have an awesome week, guys. Well, this will be coming out on Friday. I'm recording it on Thursday, but yeah, have an awesome weekend, guys.